Hello everyone. So Chevening Scholarship is currently open at the moment as we speak. So in this video, I'm going to be speaking to a Chevening scholar who will be sharing some insights and information that will be useful for you throughout the application process. But just to provide a little bit of context before we then speak to the Chevening scholar, right? So one thing that's very important for you to note is that all applications or all essays that has been written by applicants will be read by the same reading committee. After the reading committee has read all of these essays, they will then shortlist the best applications, and let's say this would be called the long list. Then this long list will be sent to British embassies of the applicants that have applied. And then these embassies will then select the best applicants from this pool, and this will be the shortlist. And these are the people who will be called for the interviews. Now, it is at this point that people who have been shortlisted for the interview will get an email that will say, congratulations, you've been progressed into the next stage. Now, just to provide more specific information, for 2022-2023's application, there were over 60,000 applicants. So this is just to give you an idea about how competitive this scholarship is. Now, that is why we're going to be speaking with someone who is a Chevening scholar, just to get a little bit of insight and just useful tips that will help you increase your chances of being selected for Chevening. Hi, Itofa, do you want to introduce yourself or just tell us a little bit about what you do?
All right. So my name is Itofa Ivara, and I'm a development practitioner, and I'm currently a Chevening Scholar who's pursuing a master's in international development here at the University of Bradford in England. Um, I think I'm a great chef. I like to call myself a great chef. I'm a great chef. I'm not a fan of movies. What else? Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much.
Interesting stuff. Well, it's good that you're a good chef or a great chef, as you said. I personally, on the other hand, I do not like to cook. I don't
You
like
like
to do anything related to that. I mean, I'll just rather eat. I don't care how the food comes. I'll just rather eat than get
that's
involved in cooking the
that's
food or anything.
that's the
But
beauty
that's
in life.
totally fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. All right. So the first question I'd like to ask you is how long did it take you to prepare for your application first?
It took me 2 years.
Two
So
years.
So when you say mental preparation, 2 years, technical preparation, probably maybe 3, 4 months. Yeah. So mental preparation means that you're ready to apply, but you know you don't have everything yet, but you're just tracking the application. Technical preparation is when I sat down with my computer and I started to write, research, and finally give answers to those questions that they were asking. So yeah.
Okay. So I believe the application is usually open for how long now?
For us, it was open. I think it was open for us for 2, 3 months, but now I think it's been cut down to just 2 months.
Yeah.
Application should be closing November thereabout.
7th of
Yeah,
November, right?
absolutely.
Okay, so if you're saying then that you started to write your essays, I think 3 to 4 months. So that means that even before the application opened, you started writing your
Yes.
essays.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Because you could always get the questions. I'd already gotten the questions on my Google Doc. The draft was there, so I just started working. I didn't want to work under pressure, so I started developing the essay. Plenty refining, and yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine. So let's talk about the essay specifically now. I think this is like arguably probably the most important part of your application process, right? Because this determines whether you get shortlisted for the next stage or not. Just give me like maybe 3 to 5 tips that you think is very important for applicants, prospective candidates to know
Yeah.
about when they're writing their essays.
So first of all, I'm pretty sure anybody who's going to be watching this particular episode will know that Chevening is a really prestigious scholarship. So just to put it in context, this year about 14,000 people
Okay.
applied, and they took only
Okay.
45. So Nigeria had
Oh,
in the metrics and data, Nigeria had the highest applicants, right? So it's very prestigious. And secondly, essay is made up of three parts. You have the leadership part, you have the networking part, and then you have the career part and your plan to return back to Nigeria. What Shivin is really looking for, they're looking for people who are very futuristic in their thought pattern and thought paradigm. Do you have the ability to see beyond where you currently are? That's number one. Number two, as an individual, before achieving gives you the opportunity, what have you been doing? What solutions have you been preferring in your space? So for me, I've been working in the development sector. I had two nonprofits I was leading back in Nigeria. So even before the scholarship came, I was already an asset to the country. So there are people, right? I have friends who are working in the financial space. I have friends who are doctors. So what have you been doing before applying for Chevening? Are you just, oh, I just have a 9 to 5? Is that all that there is you've been doing? Then third secret, how is what you're currently doing now or the future plans you have? Or let me use myself as a case study now. My master's in international development, right? Before applying for that to Chevening Scholarship, I was already working in the development sector in Nigeria. That's number one. So, how did I sell my vision to the Chevening team? I had to plug what I was currently doing to what the British government was already doing in Nigeria. It's what you call the FACE development project that was funded by the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, about $17 million that was invested in Nigeria to eradicate poverty. There was already a bilateral relationship. So I plugged that into what I was doing. That way you're already like, oh wow, this guy OT correct on, you know what I'm saying? Like he's there. So that's one of the secrets you're looking for. Find what the UK is already doing in Nigeria, connect that to your work, number one. Number two, are you a solution driven person? Number three, how much of a futuristic person are you? Can you tell me where you'll be in 10, 15, 20 years articulately without stammering? So if you can communicate all of that, get it, you're an achieving scholar already.
Awesome. These are really very specific tips that you've given, because I think then it helps or informs what an applicant would put in their own essays,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Just hold that thought. So I've been reviewing some people's essay, a couple of people, and I just saw that they just answered the question generic. Why do you want to go to the UK? Oh, world class school, great institute. Ah, that's what you're writing. You won't get it all.
All right. Okay. So the first thing you said, to be futuristic in your thinking and let that reflect in your essay. The second
Sure.
thing is you should have a track record of what you've been. So it has to reflect in your essay what you've been doing, and how the scholarship or how the course you're going to study, how that would also help you further what you've already been doing, right? And then
Yes,
the third
yes,
thing you mentioned, I think, was about connecting to
yeah.
what
Plug
the British government has been
yeah,
doing in your
yeah.
country. So moving on to other stages in the application process, I believe after you've been called or after you've been shortlisted for the interview, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so after you've been shortlisted for the interview, I want you to speak to me about what that interview was like. Number one, was it physical or virtual? Like, what was that process like, really?
Yeah, so for us, we're very privileged. It was physical because there's no longer COVID. So it was physical. Oh my
Okay.
goodness. It's an emotional man because like first of all, chevening will teach you patience. Like because from the point you apply now, your application closes November 7th. You won't hear from them till February.
Wow.
From that February, you won't hear from them again till June.
That's a very long time.
Yeah, I got in the scholarship, eh? So it got to a point where I was like, did I really get this scholarship? Because why is there such but to answer your question, it was a very, 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 very beautiful experience in the sense that you don't just think you just enter there and just go and rap and drop lyrics and think you get selected. You have to prepare. There's what you call mock interview. Meet your colleagues, meet people to walk you through the process. I did mock interview with my friends. I did mock interview with scholars who were also applying. I wrote to other people who were scholars just to like advise me. Yeah. So first of all, mock interview. How do mock interview? Then the interview itself. It's a really relaxing environment. They want you to prove what you said, what you wrote. Because what you need to understand is that for them to have read your article or read your essays and invited you for interview, it means you're already a compelling candidate. So what you now need to do is go there and convince them. Don't go there and be stammering. Yeah, that's where they'll catch people that are liars. No, once you didn't write it or you don't believe what you've written, is it's going to show. So for me, I told them XYZ, yada 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 yada. Mine went from being an interview to a conversation, and they were interested in the work that I was already doing in the country. They were saying, "Oh, we love your shoe, we love your pocket square." Yeah, I say, "Ah, yes, oh, yeah." So it's a really relaxing atmosphere. They'll ask you, "Do you want tea? Do you want water? Do you want drink?" They'll encourage you to be relaxed and calm. But your job is now when you enter that room, take over the room, attack them. Just like when they ask you, A, tell them A, add pepper, spice it up, be confident, be bold, cross your leg, relax, cross your leg, look them eyeball to eyeball. Even if you are not confident, for that duration of time, fake your confidence. That way, with God on your side, because I'm a person of faith, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. With God on your side, it would also like really help you, you know, stand out. Because I remember the day. I went on the interview. I've been following Charles, your friend. I've been following Charles, and Charles had just come back, returned from, I think it was Switzerland, and I saw Charles in this same interview panel. Yeah, we got interviewed on the
Oh,
same day.
oh,
So
okay.
give you a perspective. Somebody who's just coming back from Switzerland is coming for the same interview you are coming for. It shows you the quality of candidates. No, it's not just roadside people that are coming, And I was like, oh my gosh, what are the chances? But then you need to understand that if you're truly, 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 if it's in you, it's in you. You don't need to lie.
Very awesome answer that you've provided. But you mentioned something about reaching out to previous scholars as well.
Yeah,
So I'd like to
yeah.
ask, where can you get access to those scholars? Is it LinkedIn? Is it where?
LinkedIn,
Where exactly? So that people who
link.
are watching can know
So
exactly where to go to.
So what I did during my time was I had watched a couple of YouTube videos of people like Temi Lade, Salami, people like Larry Shaper. I also saw content from a couple of people like that. But when I reached out to all those people, I didn't reach out to Larry or Temi, but when I reached out to the other people YouTube video, they were big shots. They didn't answer me. So I went on LinkedIn and I searched, and there was a guy I found on LinkedIn who happened to had finished from my university, and he told me, yeah, 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 yeah. He gave me a few tips here and there. And that was like the only person who responded to me. So, and I just, I said, so, hey, look, I can do this stuff. And that was it.
Awesome. Great stuff. Then you also mentioned that the interview was physical as well. So I believe this was at the UK embassy in Nigeria, right?
Yeah, yeah, the British High Commission. It's called the British High Commission. I might did mine in Abuja. The British High Man. That was when I knew that by the grace of God I was going to get this scholarship. Because
Oh,
let me tell you,
really?
a quick story. Very beautiful day that I would never forget. Like, so my dad had dropped me off at the British High Commission and got off, and from the way the place is so tight, the security is so tight, you can't even just enter. And I told them, oh yeah, yeah, I'm here for the Chevening interview. And apparently the way I dressed up, dress you want the way you want to be addressed, guys. Don't just show up, wear t-shirt and jeans and just enter. Please dress like your future when you're going. If you need to go and buy a new pair of clothes and shoes, do it in faith. Don't just wear a t-shirt. Look the part. So the guy who saw me at the security said, the way I'm looking at you, you have gotten this scholarship. You enter, you enter, you enter. Got into the entrance. Like I said, you can't enter. And the lady read my name, Itofa. I said, yes, that's my name. She said, ah. I said, for my name to enter these people's book, it's gone already, OT law. And so I got it asked, and I just knew in my spirit that for me to have gotten this far, Kai, no, 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 God's going to perfect it. So that's pretty much it. It's going to be a life changing moment for you, but approach it with relishing the experience. Don't approach it with panic or fear, stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So can you just give us examples of the kind of interview questions that you were asked, like very specific questions that you were asked, so that can help other people prepare as well?
Yeah, so this is the interesting thing about the Chevening Scholarship. The way the interview works, for people who apply for masters in education, they put all of us together. People who apply for development, they put all of us together. So if people that did financial accounting, architecture, they'll put all of them. So what they are doing is that they are pairing you with experts. So the people that will sit on your panel either have experience in that field, are working in that field, or they are previous Chevening scholars that study that stuff. So if you are aligning the conversation, they can pick up the signals. So they will never ask you questions out of the four essays you wrote. However, they can actually build up questions. So if you said, for instance, now you are going to come and return back to Nigeria and build schools for children, they can ask you questions like, how do you plan to get that funding? How is this sustainable? Can you explain the theory of change you're going to use to create this intervention? So you can see how you put yourself in trouble now. So don't say what you cannot defend because they won't ask you beyond. So for me now, I was already prepared with my four questions. I knew my essays because I wrote my essays by myself. I knew my essays. So when they asked me to tell us about your leadership experience, I told them my leadership experience. They asked me, tell us a time where you used your networking skills to create a solution. I told them, and that was where it stopped. Then they started asking me build up questions like, what are your future career plans? I told them, and the lady now stopped me somewhere. You keep saying we. What about you? What did you do? In because I kept saying, "Oh, we did this." She said, "What about you? What did you do?" As a sharp Nigerian guy, I thought, "Oh my gosh, I've flopped this thing." I just gathered my composure. I said, "Me, what did I do?" I said, "Thank you very much." Specifically, this was what I did while leading this project. I was the content creator. I was the fundraising manager. I created the storyline, the script. I ensured that we had consent and collated documents of the people we worked with in the IDP camps in Nigeria, stuff like that. Don't just get So it was only two questions or three questions they asked me, but
Oh,
it
really?
was yeah, but I was probably there for like maybe 30 minutes because they were it was more build up questions. So I'm saying please don't say what you cannot defend. Ensure that you're speaking from your heart. As you can hear me talk now, I'm sure you're enjoying this conversation. I'm a natural communicator. So if you bring me to a room and
I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
agree.
you have shot yourself in the leg because you know it's all very
Very, very, very brilliant answer. Thank you very much, Itofa. So my final question then would be, let's speak about how your experience has been now that you've been in the UK. What has the experience been like? What is like the major cultural shocks and just things like that in general?
culture shock. First of all, is the fact that it was 1 degrees a few days ago, and yeah, I've never like experienced. I mean, I've
Experience
traveled,
that.
but never experienced 1 degrees in my life. It was 1 degrees, and it now turns out that my favorite thing to do is shower because every time I enter the hot water, it's like, oh my gosh, this is heaven because it's so cold, just unnecessarily cold, you know. But again, I will not trade this experience for anything. Culture shocks for me would be just missing my Nigerian food, things like rice and beans, pounded yam and a four, just on Sundays when you return back from church, you have your family, everybody's gisting. Now you return, you're using the elevators upstairs to your room alone, books everywhere to read. It's been an experience, but there's something that I have experienced that I noticed that in all the YouTube videos I saw, I never saw anybody talk about this as a Chevening scholar. Um, Make sure what you're applying for to do your masters in is something you are really passionate about because the education system here in the UK is mostly self-paced. Nobody's going to sit you down in any classroom and tell you this is the formula for this is the formula for this. Your professor assumes that you have already known this formula. He will only come and build on that and leave you. And when they imagine I have two, I'm writing an exam this year in January, two questions, two questions, 100, that's 50. One question is 50 marks, two questions, 100 marks. Just
Wow.
hear that. Good. Thank you for saying wow. Can you see this textbook? This is
Oh,
textbook.
wow.
You're supposed to finish it cover to cover. So if you're planning to come here and think masters is about taking pictures, chilling, you better get ready. There are some courses that I have like 52 recommended reading, core readings, and I'm like, it's too far. And the, and you know how academic writing is not the same with literal writing. Literal writing, that your motivational speaker can tell you, don't give up, push, keep going. Academic writing, they will tell you to ordinary development they want to explain. They will say the GDP per capita is equivalent to the parity of uncle, can't you just tell us what development is? Why are you going through all of this? So just to put that in context, nobody said this to me when I was in Nigeria. They kept saying UK education is intense, UK education. Nobody said that, look, you will read, you will read hours of reading. You because you just come to class and they are saying stuff you don't even know. And even when you go back to read, you still don't know it. So you need to be disciplined to, so but that's what I'm going to say. But so far, it's been incredible experience. I mean, I have access, like I'm going to London in a couple of, in a couple of days, and just super excited about that. Looking forward to that experience, and that's one of the things the UK, just being a scholar, gives you to explore other parts of the United Kingdom. There are four kingdoms, by the way, for people who didn't know. There's England, there's Northern Ireland, there's Scotland, and there's I think Wales. If I'm not correct, if I'm wrong,
Wales,
I can't
yes.
remember.
Thank you very much, Itofa, for taking out the time to speak with me and just, help prospective candidates and guide them through the right path, really. So if people are looking to find you, just to ask some questions here and there, how can we find you, please?
Hey, some questions. Hey, my sister. People will be asking me questions. I'll not finish attending. But by the way, my name is Itofa. You could just Google me, Itofa. I'll pop up on Google. You find me on LinkedIn, Instagram. Yeah. I mean, but what
All
I've
right.
done is because I know that I can't attend to people one on one. I've just been like just writing articles and sharing resources so that people can just read.
Okay, that's totally fine. Thank you very much, Itofa, once
Thank you
again.
so
And
much, Rhoda. It's been incredible.
all right. And yes, we've come to the end of today's video. And thank you again, Itofa.